President Trump raising his new global tariffs to 15%, replacing the levy struck down by the Supreme Court. Writing on Truth Social today, the court approved all of their tariffs, which there are many that can be used in a much more powerful and obnoxious way. Our incompetent Supreme Court did a great job for the wrong people. The White House says Trump's trade policy goals have not changed.
He is fulfilling his mandate to the American people to bring back manufacturing and stop the U.S. from being ripped off by our trading partners. And he used IEEPA for a year and pushed down tariff barriers, non-tariff trade barriers, unfair subsidies, and the trading partners are going to stick with these great deals. The president remains undeterred in his determination to lower our trade deficit and bring manufacturing back to the U.S.
Stocks are selling off to begin the week as the tariff ruling is said to inject new uncertainty for investors. Okay, so I guess I'll go to you on this, Jonathan. I've made my case. I think a lot of the uncertainty, in my view, is manufactured by people who like to say Trump is a chaos agent and he's wrecking the economy. Am I wrong? Am I right? What do you think?
No, Brian, I mean, businesses have to make plans. They don't make plans one day or 1 week in the future. They look, 6 months out, a year out, 10 years out, especially when you're talking about investing billions in dollars and making a plant. Just to acknowledge something that Secretary Besson said, the president's goals in the tariffs. Look, the trade deficit widened last year after the tariffs. The point was to shrink the trade deficit. It's actually got wider because of the tariff, and manufacturing employment has slowed down nearly every month since those Liberation Day tariffs were enacted. So if I was the president here, I would take the win, as I said, and move on to other areas of the economy that could benefit from lower taxes, lower tariffs, and deregulation.
Jackie, why do you think the president, if it's a win, if the Supreme Court ruling is a win, and I think you can make the argument it is in some cases, why doesn't he want to take the win? Why wouldn't he take the win?
Oh. That's a hard one to
I didn't
answer,
read your mind on that question.
Getting into his head.
Well, you don't think it's a win necessarily.
Well, I did think it was a win, actually. We were talking about this on Friday, and I talked about the fact that I wanted and expected the court to read IEEPA and stick to the statute, because my fear is that if he was overstepping authority and using IEEPA, others will then take that precedent to overstep authority and abuse IEEPA. So what the court did, actually, in my view, was not only drill down on ways he could have used IEEPA better, but also acknowledging that he had these other national security options in his toolkit. Brian, what you said before, they kind of like were all on the same page to a certain degree. So he could just sort of walk away from this and take the win, as you're suggesting, or he could do what he did, which was institute this 15% Section 122 tariff, because I think he really believes in the substantial tariff revenue, helping the situation of the American people. Now, separate from that, Brian, you also had mentioned this idea that the market is selling off as it was on Liberation Day. This is nothing like Liberation Day, so to the point of like the manufactured headlines and what you were saying, so we're agreeing here, because if you think about how steep the tariffs were on Liberation Day, people thought that those tariffs would be in place for an indefinite amount of time, but also it was this idea of just this kind of wacky uncertainty. We actually have certainty here. We've also experienced lower tariffs since April, almost a year, and it has not upended the economy. So we've got proof that it doesn't cause a problem. At a 15% level, I don't really think that this is something that is, should be freaking the market out in this way. Which is why I think that's not what is behind this Dow sell-off at 732 points.
It's interesting you say that, because what I've read in terms of the analysis of the old tariffs and the new tariff, the average of the old tariffs, the IEEPA tariffs, was like 16%. Right. And the average of the new tariffs is somewhere in the realm of 12, 13%, something like that. So it's a little bit of a cut, but it's also it's not substantially bringing it way down. So, Dagan, I throw that to you. Plus, I also offer the observation that you have two sets of political entities handling this very differently. You have the EU, which has multiple people from the EU have come out and said, oh, my goodness, Trump, chaos once again. Then you have Japan coming out and saying, we would like to honor the agreement that we've already made with the United States. So one seems very cool, calm, collected. one seems quite hysterical. Do you read anything into that?
Well, can I start with the market?
Sure.
What I'm reading into, one of the issues with the 15% levy that's been announced by President Trump is that under Section 122, that's only good for 150 days. So that is
Yes.
a temporary measure. Moving beyond that, the administration is planning to use a different statute. What is it? Section 301.
301, I think,
of the
coming
Trade
up.
Act.
Yep.
So uncertainty is a word that we always use, but it seems arbitrary. And when you look at behavioral changes based on arbitrary edicts from the government and its institutions, you wind up with strange, weird behaviors and distortions in the marketplace. And this is already a market that was a little weak in the knees. And so any additional move that creates behavioral changes will exacerbate that nervousness that you see among investors. And we got to begin to ponder, are investors factoring in what happens to this economy after the midterms? Are they already, because that's about how far investors look ahead, that as the White House tinkers away around the margins, and I mean that literally, because this revenue that's brought in by these tariffs, they can talk about, oh, it's reshoring manufacturing. It is just not that much money. And are you creating bigger problems, stretching for marginal revenue, which is only not even $200 billion based on those IEEPA tariffs. So you're creating waves and bumps and in the economy, and also leading to a massive defeat for your own party.
That's what I'm saying. Is if these expire in 150 days, if you want to import something, why wouldn't you wait 150 days? Dagan, to your point, I mean...
Or wait until the midterms, or wait for 3 years.
Exactly. I mean, people always accuse business of being short-term oriented and only worried about the quick buck. It's not the case. Businesses look long-term, but it's impossible to do so with, Dagan, to your point, these arbitrary tariffs changing literally almost on a daily basis.
Well, these are way less arbitrary tariffs, you could argue, than the IEEPA ones. Because these ones are clearly baked into law. There's a clear procedure about how you study them, how you implement them, when they run out. Now, you could say the use of them maybe is arbitrary, but there's a longer track record of using, like 301, for example, than anything under IEEPA. So again, I would say, Lydia, I'll throw it to you, but I would say maybe not today, but in a fairly short period of time, there should be a lot more certainty around how these tariffs operate. And maybe the market is just freaking out a little bit, as it tends to do when Trump posts a lot of Truth Social things about tariffs. Anyway, Lydia, go.
I agree with you. I think that the plan B that they are now rotating to will have some longevity, right? They will be more permanent because they're coming through statutes that have been tried and true, that Congress has kind of blessed that you can use these statutes. But I think we're still in like this period of time where businesses are asking themselves, okay, IEEPA goes away, but what does this new regime mean for us? So, for example, to that point, Section 201 allows tariffs on specific countries, specific sectors, right? Not across the board. So for companies that could be facing down a 201 tariff, if you're more exposed to a country that could be the target of a 201 tariff, maybe now your tariffs for your company are going to be increased more than they were than under IEEPA. Even though across the country, we might be taking in fewer tariffs nationally, it might be, I guess you could say, worse or more exacerbated for certain companies, depending on what sector or what countries they're
exposure.
dealing with. Yes, exactly. And I think that's the point that I actually, sometimes I host this Fox Business podcast. I know you do as well, Jackie, on Mondays and Fridays. And this morning we had a terrific conversation with the CEO of Ethan Allen, the furniture company. And that is exactly the calculus that they're weighing. They're kind of agnostic about the tariffs because they produce so much in the United States. But they are wondering now, with the kind of rotation and these new 201, potentially 232, if they could have greater exposure moving forward.
So let's go to that. Lydia interviewed small business owners today. Yep, this is it. On the impact of the tariffs, here's a little bit of her conversation. Watch.
Well, so for the last year, it's been challenging. And as you recall, for months after they first went on, they were changing almost weekly. So that meant our systems were changing almost weekly, but we got into a groove and it stabilized. And then last week, so completely exposed. Almost everything that we have coming into our store is affected by tariffs.
Saturday, we informed all of our employees, no more tariffs today. The store was full of brides, and so the staff went to the brides and the mothers and said, look, there's no tariff, they're gone. By the time they got to the front desk to buy the dress they said yes to, there was 15% tariff on there. So we can't go back and tell them, oh, and by the way, the last 30 minutes we were told there's a 15% tariff. We can't go back and say that to them. So we basically have to eat the 15%.
I don't think brides like dynamic pricing on their dresses.
No.
But so anyway, so talk about that a little bit.
You know, my heart goes out to that small business and so many that are on Main Street that are trying to navigate these like huge, complicated policies. Because of course, when you're a small business, especially in a bridal shop, you can understand your relationship with your customer is very personal. So they're trying to do right by their customer.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure that it's the greatest idea to, forgive tariffs and make those decisions on the fly. But they're even wondering, are they going to see the tariff monies from IEEPA from last year refunded? They don't have the money for high-powered lawyers to help them like the big businesses do. They're getting to the front of the line. And I know you're worried about that too, Dagan.
If you got the number to the bat phone in the White House, you do just fine, like a Tim Cook at an Apple. But I have a family member who lost her job because the store that she worked for shut down because it couldn't operate with the burden of the tariffs, because a lot of the goods it bought came from China.
But wait a minute, I thought foreign countries were paying all the, that's what I've been told from the administration for month after month after month. And listen to this young...
I've said this before on the air.
Small business owners are hurt the most.
I have no problem. Consumption tax, you want to create incentives for work and discourage consumption. But if they want to do it, then have at it. To Bernie Moreno and the Republicans, then codify it. Codify it across the board. But they'll never do it.
Well, they may have to think about it in 150 days, because that's when Section 122 runs out of steam.
Because we have half the country, the bottom half of the country pays almost no income tax. We need the revenue. It's got to come from somewhere.
All right.